Certainly, my experience in this is over the last almost 3 decades. I've been working with Singleton Birch and subsequently with Birch Chemicals to utilize calcium oxide, which is an alkali. It also helps to remove and precipitate out things from liquids and gas streams. And one of its other properties is that it reacts with moisture to form a solid. That can be used in a number of applications. There's also heat generated in that application as well. Um, so things like drying out unsuitable building materials, if you have a clay soil or something that's not suitable for load bearing, you can use a technique called soil stabilization, which is calcium oxide removing moisture from a soil. You can replace 100 truckloads of material with 1 truckload of calcium oxide. It's a very effective desiccant. And then moving on from there, the kind of projects that we've been involved in, most of the UK will have parked on a car park which has been stabilised using our material. We've worked on Heathrow Terminal 5, a number of other airport runways, Silverstone, the new uh, pit lane extension, and the new part of the track was built on our material, and also part of the Olympic Stadium. So, we've worked on some very high profile projects in that arena. Other people make stuff that traps moisture. Now, that moisture is either contained within the product by turning calcium chloride into a liquid, that creates its own problem, or it's absorbed onto the surface of silica and it can be re-released. Our product locks that chemically away. The understanding and the analysis of what's creating the moisture and how you solve it. So, we're talking about solutions here. We're not talking about products. We're talking about, this is the problem. How do we solve it? Well, first of all, we have to analyze the problem. And that's something we've been doing for decades as as Singleton Birch and then Birch Chemicals. But the whole breadth of application of calcium oxide, calcium hydroxide products is so wide. Everything from chemistry to waste treatment to gas treatment. Most of the applications are in kind of environmental improvement just recently. But the biggest user of the product globally is the steel industry, where again, it removes impurities. So it's very, very widely used. There was a problem identified by one of our team, which is that a lot of products which are used in that industry are not as effective as they could be and will re-release moisture. So our team of formulating experts came up with a multi-component hyperdesiccant formulation. Basically, most other products will have a single active ingredient, either a silica gel or calcium chloride. And these things have an inherent problem because they will re-release moisture. If you're using calcium chloride, yeah, it absorbs the moisture, but it becomes a liquid, which you have to deal with either by some complex packaging arrangement or something to absorb the moisture that is created by the thing that's absorbing the moisture. Um, so, up to half of that product can be something that doesn't actually take moisture out of the air. It's just soaking up the stuff that's reacting. So, our formulators decided that, okay, we need something that performs over a wide range of relative humidities, a wide range of temperatures, and it will keep going. Because I think, as Mark has previously touched on, a journey can vary massively in terms of origin, destination, and the kind of places it travels through, the length of time, and the amount of time it stood still on hard. Because a lot of the issues with humidity come with massive fluctuations in heat, and those tend to happen when it's stood on hard rather than when it's actually on an ocean going vessel. With regard to the chemistry, our product is not just calcium oxide, it's multi component. We have parts of the formulation that will react with moisture and lock it in. We have parts of the formulation that will work quickly, and parts of the formulation that work at a longer time scale. So, what we've tried to do is look at the problem in its entirety and come up with something which will give performance at extremes of temperature, relative humidity, and perfect performance right throughout the range, and then also fast and slow moisture lock in. So it should, and the data certainly backs that up, outperform all of the competition in the same way that, if you take an anecdote as a motor car, because I know we've talked about those before, a Formula One car will go really fast for a very short period of time. A truck will travel a very long way. If you're going for most journeys, you want something in between a Formula One car and a truck. And that's what we designed. We designed a Grand Tourer, which performs brilliantly. And in Jeremy Clarkson parlance, that that's kind of that is the optimum way to get from A to B with minimum problems. Yeah, well, in terms of product performance, our product is we judge it on performance in use. And in plain English, what that means is it's not the cheapest, but it will be the most effective. So overall, if you're looking at kilo per kilo, then our cost will be more. If you're looking at how much do you use per container, per pallet, per whatever, ours will be less. So your overall cost of in use and its overall effectiveness is much better. For example, we've seen examples where people will recommend 64 units per 40-foot container of a competitor product. Well, ours would do it with 20. So, not only is it much more effective, but you think you've got 20 rather than 64 units to put in there, and 20 rather than 64 units to take out and dispose of at the end of the process. So you're also shipping an awful lot less desiccant to the place. So our carbon footprint overall and our impact on the environment is much smaller because you use a lot less. Really, that's what our ultimate aim is, to produce something which is being developed ongoing to be it's the best in class and to give the maximum performance for minimum volume. In terms of understanding the problem, we have decades of experience of solving people's problems in application. Be that in the steel industry, in the chemicals industry, drinking water, energy from waste. We've built whole businesses around solving other people's problems. And those can be either complex chemical or technical problems or logistics problems. And the first thing you have to do is understand what the basic of the problem is. So in terms of moving shipments around the world, where does the moisture come from? Are you closing the vents to the outside atmosphere, or does it help if the vents are open? Well, depending on whether you're traveling from hot to cold, yes, that makes a difference. What's in there? So you've got your pallets, how the pallet's been stored, your packaging. What moisture content is the packaging? What's the humidity? What's the void space? Um, all of these things will play a part. We have a particular application where somebody, there's a chemical company which is packing a product. Now, they cannot change their packing line, and they pack this product hot. They pack it immediately hot under a PE liner. So all of that humidity and that moisture immediately condenses on the inside of the PE liner. It looks like it's raining inside a plastic bag, um, and we've helped to solve that by adding our birch sorb desiccant packs underneath that hood. Now, yes, that's a cost per unit, but given that this particular company cannot change their manufacturing process, we've saved them not just millions, but tens of millions of pounds on changing their whole operating process by looking at the problem and solving it with birch sorb hypodesiccant.